Hi everyone, welcome to this DataSnipper text training. Good to see you all here today. While people are joining, people can still join the webinar. We will kick it off. Today I will tell you all about DataSnipper and how you can apply DataSnipper in the tax industry. And I would like to start off with a short introduction. My name is Candide Verbrugge. I work at DataSnipper as a transformation manager. This means that I help my clients implement DataSnipper in their day-to-day work. And with me in this call is Alex. Alex, maybe you can also shortly introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name's Alex. I'm an account executive here, so I basically work in the sales team. We're based in Amsterdam, so Candida and I work quite closely every day. So great to have you here. Enjoy the webinar.
Thanks. Let's continue to this slide. Please join our Menti. You can do that by using the QR code on the screen or going to menti.com and using the code over here. I will also share a link in the chat with which you can join our Menti. Maybe you've received the preparation email for this webinar. I would like to ask you to download the training materials that were shared in the preparation email. You can also use the link that was shared in the chat. And in that way, you can download the training materials, save them on your desktop, and you can click along during this training. Usually we see that our attendees get more out of the training when you click along. And I see that a lot of people have already joined the Menti. That's really good. Please give me a thumbs up when you've joined, so I know that we're getting there. Okay, looks like we're going well. And as mentioned, you can join during the entire session by using the Menti link in the chat. And maybe to test out if the Menti is working correctly, please let me know where you are from by pinning or like placing a pin on the map. And I think we are seeing some results coming in. I see most of you are based in US. That's also a bit what we expected with this time slot, of course. Also someone from South Africa. And as mentioned, Alex and I are both located in the Netherlands. Okay, mainly US. I see some Canada, South Africa as well. Good to know. And then next question, how familiar are you currently with using DataSnipper? Maybe you've never seen it before, maybe you've seen it, not used it. Maybe you've used DataSnipper and you're curious to learn more, or maybe you're already an expert. And I see that most of you have already used it and are curious to learn more. Well, it's really good reason to be in the session. I hope that we can learn you something new today. But also, if you have never seen DataSnipper or maybe seen it in a glance but never used it, that's also all right. We will also cover the basics of snipping and how to import documents, for example. So good to get a first impression on this topic. And let's look at the agenda for today. We will first shortly talk about what is DataSnipper, then why DataSnipper in tax, like what would be a reason to apply DataSnipper in tax procedures, and how you can use DataSnipper in your day-to-day tax procedures. And this will consist of some use cases that we will walk through during this session. If you have any questions during this session, feel free to place them in the Q&A functionality in Zoom. And my colleague Alex will do her best to answer your questions, or if needed, we can answer them centrally in this session. So what is DataSnipper? For those of you that are already familiar with this, this might sound familiar, but DataSnipper is an intelligent platform based in Excel. This means that it is an Excel add-on, something that's usually very appreciated by our users. You don't need a separate tool to use DataSnipper. It's already there in your Excel. And DataSnipper is at this moment already loved by 300,000 financials across the globe, which are mostly auditors, but recently we found out that there are way more ways on how to use DataSnipper, also tax, but for example, also compilation assignments. And why would you want to apply DataSnipper in tax? Maybe it's good to summarize that. we think that there are a lot of benefits for having DataSnipper in your tax procedures. The main benefit is that it can drive an efficient execution for financial procedures and tax procedures. But also it can help you improve the file quality by high quality documentation. And DataSnipper also facilitates in doing an efficient review. And this, these topics together make sure that DataSnipper makes your work more fun, which is of course something that all of us want. Then how can you use DataSnipper in tax? There are multiple ways how you can apply DataSnipper in your tax procedures. It's definitely not limited to the examples that I will show you today. However, it's a good start and it's a good giving you a good first impression on how you can apply it and how every feature works. So first of all, we will cover the basics of snipping and how you can snip information from supporting documents you receive from the client. After that, we will look at some tax forms and how you can apply form extraction in order to extract data from tax forms. After that, we will look at VAT testing and how you can do that with document matching. And it's now time for a short demo. So in case you just joined, download the training materials. They are shared in the chat. And if you download them, save them on your desktop and unzip the folder. This is the folder structure that you will see. So try to click along if you already have DataSnipper, and if not, sit back and relax. And I'm going to start with the first folder called the basics of snipping. I'm going to open that folder and I'm going to open the Excel document that I have in here called the basics of snipping. And when opening the document, this is the structure that you will see, or the template that you will see. You can see that I have DataSnipper installed because it is here in my Excel ribbon. And when I click on DataSnipper, you can see that at this moment, most of the buttons are still grayed out. That's because the first step when using DataSnipper is to import documents. And you can do that using the Import Documents button that we have over here. And you can click on Import Documents, and then you will see that you get taken to your Windows Explorer. Here you can navigate through the folders that you have. I can, for example, open the folder Supporting Documents, and I can select the PDF documents that I have located in here and click on Open. Once you import documents with DataSnipper, you will see that the document viewer will pop up. And in the document viewer, I can easily navigate through the different documents. I can also zoom in, zoom out, rotate, or search in the documents. And in this example, I imported two PDF documents. It's good to know that with DataSnipper, you can import all sorts of documents. PDF is just one of them. You can also import JPG documents, TPE documents, PNG, Word, Excel, etc. So all type of files can be imported with DataSnipper. The data does not necessarily have to contain text. So because DataSnipper has quite some advanced text recognition in it, which means that once you apply text recognition, DataSnipper is able to recognize the data in there. And in the example and in the documents that I had just imported, you will see that some of them do not contain text. Maybe for us as humans, we can see that this information contains text. However, if I try to create a snip, you will see that DataSnipper will not give me an accurate representation of the data. Or maybe it does. Let's check. If I click on Recognize Text, you can see that some of the documents, they already have the recognized status. So what I can do in case a certain document does not have the recognized status, I can select the documents and I can click on the Recognize button. But in this case, the documents...
Sorry to interrupt. We're having a couple questions popping up about the training files not working. Can you just double check it's the right link?
maybe I should share them again, since maybe it's only possible to see them once you have joined. Let me share the link again. I've sent a new message in the chat, so if you click on that link, it should be able to download. It's a one-click download link, will take you to a web page, and there you should be able to download it.
Yeah, thanks.
And if you don't see some of the supporting documents, that might mean that you didn't unzip the zip file. So once you download the training materials, you can save them on your desktop and unzip the zip files, and in that way you can import the documents. So now that I have imported documents and checked the text recognition, next thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my first snip. Before having DataSnipper, I would have typed over the name of the partnership employer, which is in this case Loreen and Medina. I would have typed it over in my Excel. However, since I have DataSnipper now, I don't need to do that anymore. I can use the blue text snip and select the partnership name. And then you will see that I can place a blue snip over this information field, and that value will be taken over here in my Excel file. It doesn't matter if I close my document, open it again, send it to a reviewer. As long as they have DataSnipper, they can click on this certain name, and you will see that it gets taken to the place in the document where the information is extracted from. So as you can imagine, very easy to review this when using DataSnipper, because it's just one click on the file, and then you will see where the information is coming from. I can also snip other information with DataSnipper. I can, for example, snip this identification number. Yeah, it's basically possible to snip all sorts of data. I can also choose to snip, for example, the dates. DataSnipper will automatically look at the settings on your laptop and format the date in a way that you have the settings in Excel. For me, that's European settings. For some of you in the US, that will be different settings. Yeah, so now that I've extracted some basic information, I might also want to extract the name of the employer from other supporting documents, for example, from the partner review schedule. And I can do that by using search and snip. So you might have noted that you can stand in any value in your Excel, and the value in that cell will be taken over here in the search bar. So this means that you can use the search functionality to search in the documents where the same name actually occurred. DataSnipper will give you the results of all the places in the documents where the same information was included. If you then want to snip information, you can use the blue snip button on the right side of the search result that you want to use. And you can click on snip, and you will see the snip is placed in the next empty cell. And in that way, you can quite easily snip information by using search and snip. It's also possible to type in information. So if you already know that you will be searching for a certain value, maybe that one, you can already search for it like this. However, I would prefer to just stand in a certain cell, and then that value will be taken over here. So in some cases, you might not want to extract data, but you might want to place a validation. For example, if you want to confirm if this amount is in line with the amount on the K1 form, you might then want to place a validation snip. The validation snip is the green button you can see over here. And when selecting the validation snip, I can then select the value where I want the snip to be placed. And it's also possible to snip directly from here by using the snip button with search and snip. The snip will then be placed in the cell where you had selected. You can undo this by using Ctrl Z, and instead select the cell where you want the information to be snipped and click on snip. So the difference between a validation and a text snip is that the text snip is about extracting data and the validation snip is about validating information.
Candida,
Yeah.
could you possibly show everyone how to rerun text recognition? We're getting a couple questions on that.
Yeah, that's okay. So once you have imported the documents in your Excel, you can click on the recognize text button, and here you can select the documents where you want to apply text recognition on. In some cases, this will be run by DataSnipper automatically. In some cases, you will have to apply the text recognition in order to improve the quality of your results. Are there any other urgent questions at this moment, Alex?
No, for now, that was all. Thank you.
Okay, great, thanks. Then I'm going to continue with the next one. I want to validate if this number is in line with the number that I see on the K1 form and review schedule. If I take a closer look at the number, you can see that this number is actually not in line with the number that I was searching for. This means that I found an exception, and this means that I can create an exception snip. So I can use the red exception snip button in order to create an exception snip over here. And you will then see a red cross appear in the Excel sheet, and the area is highlighted in red. So in this way, it's very easy to show that a certain amount is an exception by using the exception snip. I can also do that for the amount over here. And as you can see, very easy to review as well, based on what kind of information a certain validation or exception has been made. I can also update the text in the cell. So for example, if I want to include a comment saying amount is not aligned or something, it's still possible to add comments in this sheet. So now that I've done some manual snips, I might want to also sum up information. So maybe I want to have the total of the non-recourses on the beginning and on the ending. And I can do that by using the yellow sum snip. And the sum snip is the yellow button you can see over here. And with the sum snip, I can just select multiple amounts. You will see the amounts are taken over here in the formula bar, and the total is shown in the cell. You can do the same for the sum snip over here. And as you can see, very easy and very nice to sum up multiple information fields. You can do this with an unlimited amount of amounts. The thing that I'm going to show you right now is maybe not the best example, but it is one way to show how you can use the sum snip. So if I select the sum snip, I can also select all these amounts, and then you'll see the amounts are taken over here in the formula bar, and the total is shown in the cell. I can also sum up amounts on multiple pages by holding the control button on my keyboard. So I can do that by, so for example, by selecting the amounts over here and maybe some amounts over here. As you can see, they're all now included in the formula bar. And if I click on the cell, you can see that there are 3 snips attached to the same cell. By hovering over them, I can find out where the information is extracted from. And I now showed how to import documents and how to do these manual snips. Alex, maybe this is a good moment to check in if there are any questions on any of the functionalities I've shown so far.
No, nothing until this point. We're good.
Okay, great. Was everything clear on the importing documents, text recognition, those kind of things?
I believe so. We haven't had any follow-on questions yet.
Okay, great. Sounds good. Then I'm going to continue with the next example. I'm going to show you how to create a table snip. So in this in the sheet, you can see that there's a lot of tabular data. in the partner review schedule for the K1. And if I take a closer look at this data, you will see it. Yeah, it's in a table format. Before having DataSnipper, it could be a lot of work to get all the information to your Excel. But now we have the table snip. It's the button you see over here. And with the table snip, I can easily extract tabular data to my Excel. I can do that by using the table snip in order to select a certain table. And you will then see that the data will be taken over here in my Excel file. It's still possible to tailor the data. I can, for example, remove a certain column by using the minus button or add a column by using the plus button. I can also edit the rows by using the 3 dots on the top right corner and clicking on edit rows. And I can then remove a certain rows if needed. You might have noticed that this tabular data is repeating over multiple pages. So maybe I want to repeat this table snip. I can do that by using the 3 dots on the top right corner and selecting the repeat table snip for other pages option. I can then select repeat snip for all pages after the current page. And then you will see the data is automatically taken over to my Excel in a matter of seconds. So this can really help you extract data over multiple pages and extracting tabular data. I'm going to delete this example because in some cases you will notice that DataSnipper will automatically recognize tables for you. This is a functionality we recently added to the DataSnipper product. And you might notice that DataSnipper is giving me a suggestion here to snip all tables. If I click on snip all tables, DataSnipper will automatically snip all the tables on the different pages. It's still possible to adjust this, so good to know that as an auditor, you're always in charge of what in the end is being taken over to your Excel. You can of course remove certain columns, add columns as well. Maybe the layout that is taken here doesn't make the most sense, so I'm restructuring the data a little bit, and you will see that this information is automatically, the restructuring of the tables is automatically repeated on the next pages. The only thing that's left to do is to snip the header row. So I'm going to use the table snip to snip this header row. And then you will see that it's a matter of seconds and you have your data prepared for any follow-up procedures. Alex, any questions came in on the table snip?
No, we don't have any questions on the table snips, but we do have a question in the chat that seems to be quite use case specific.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you could comment on that. They were just asking if the former document was an example of a tax work paper, or if we're still going to get there.
An example of a tax work paper, or have we not gotten so far? Yeah, this could be an example of a tax work paper. Of course, like the way work papers look is usually very specific to companies. So what we as DataSnipper try to do is like showing templates that you as tax specialists look recognizable. But of course, it's not limited to, like, the application of DataSnipper is not limited to this type of template. You can use your own type of work papers or type of templates that you normally use. This is just one way how to show this, like how to show how you can use the information. I also see there's a question, is there an undo function? Yes, you can use Ctrl-Z to undo your last snipping action. However, it only goes back one step. So for example, if I'm deleting these 2 snips with the delete snips button, I can use Ctrl-Z to bring the information back. But if I delete these ones and after that these ones, I cannot undo both of them. I can only undo the last snipping action. When we do the name search, do we have to type in the name? see for an MS sheet? Well, it depends like how you want to search. If you create the first snip, then and you don't know the name yet, I would just search by looking at the documents. Once you have if you have the data in your Excel, for example, with this one, you can use the search functionality. So you can see that I can stand in the cell, value is taken over in the search bar, and by using the little icon over here, I can find all the places in the documents where the same value occurred. So multiple ways to search. You can type in the name. You can also search if you already have a name in your Excel. Both of those will work. Okay, it looks like we covered the questions for now. If you have any questions coming, please fill them in the Q&A and we will do our best to answer them. I'm now going to continue with the next example, folder number 2, text forms with form extraction. And I'm going to go to the first folder, use case, text forms 1040. And I'm going to open the Excel file over there. And in this Excel, you can see that there are a couple of 1040 forms already included. And if I search on the different, or like if I scroll through the different forms, you will see that they all have a similar layout. That's because they are text forms, and text forms usually need to be filled in for government purposes. So this means that they all have a similar layout. And let's imagine that from these forms, I want to extract certain information. Maybe I want to extract the first name and maybe also the last name and the social security number. I could, of course, do that manually. However, since all documents have the same layout, I'd rather do it in a more automated way. So I'm going to use the form extraction functionality for that. So I'm going to click on the button form extraction. And then you will see this new window pop up. And I will use the blue button on the top right corner to start a new form extraction. By clicking on the blue button, DataSnipper will prompt this new window saying choose documents with similar formatting to extract data. And I'm going to use all the forms. I'm going to select all of them and click on OK. And then you will see that my view will change a bit. Now, when creating a form extraction, the first step is to tell DataSnipper how I want the extraction to be repeated. So this can either be per document, per page, or multiple lines per page. And in this example, I have multiple forms on multiple different PDF documents. So I'm going to select the extract per document option. Then I'm going to use the blue button to click on add extraction. You will see that part of the screen is being grayed out and DataSnipper is suggesting set a snip to add an extraction. I will now use the first name or select the first name in order to create an extraction. And you can see that now that I have selected the first name, there's a preview of the extraction is being prepared. And if I click on this example, you will see that DataSnipper is going through every document and extracting the same field. So as you can see, very easy, very fast, and it can really help you in creating a good extraction. So there are a couple of things that is handy to know about form extraction. You can see that at this moment, the name of this extraction is extraction 1. If I use the 3 dots on the right side, you can select the rename option, and you can choose to rename this extraction field. So I might want to call this one first name, and then click on OK. And then you will see all the header is changed into first name. Something else that's good to keep in mind is when I click on a certain extraction result, you will see that not the full not the full first name and middle initials are selected. There's a very easy way to prevent this. If I click on the three dots, I can edit the field and I can make this field a bit longer than needed. So I would really advise you that when you have a certain field that you want to extract and it has a variable length, then make sure that the field is long enough in order for the results to be more accurate. So okay, these results look nice. They all look good. Maybe it's good to tell a little bit about how does this actually work. If I click on this first name extraction field, you will see that the first name field is being highlighted in yellow, but also the word one is being highlighted in yellow. This means that DataSnipper has identified the word one as the keyword and will search on every document for the word one and extract the information that's from a certain distance from that point. So in this case, the results look very accurate, look very nice. So it's not really needed to change the keyword. But just to show you how it works is you can change the keywords by using the three dots on the right side and click on Edit Keys. You can then play around with the keywords a little bit. And maybe to give you an example of what does not work, let's say that I would select the name malloc as a keyword. You will then see on the right side that the extraction is only giving me one result. So the reason for that, the word malloc is the keyword. And this means that DataSnipper will go to every document, search for the word malloc and take the information that's from a certain distance from that word. However, since the word malloc is probably unique for this first form, DataSnipper will not give me any results. So when selecting a keyword, keep in mind to use wording that is consistent over the multiple documents. So a good example would be to select the words your first name, for example, and you can see that DataSnipper will then go to every document, search for the wording your first name, and extract the data, which is resulting in a more accurate extraction. I can now also use the Add Extraction button to extract other data, for example, the name malloc, the last name. And I can rename this field as well. And then you will see a preview of the extraction on the right side. I can also extract other data, maybe the social security number. Maybe I also want to extract, let's say, the taxable interest, or maybe I want to extract the taxable income. There are as many extraction fields that you want to, you can add. You will see that DataSnipper will give you some results. You can still review it in here. Once you are happy with the results, you can click on the blue button, Export to Excel, and then the information will be extracted to your Excel file. You will see that DataSnipper has placed several text snips, which again makes it very easy to review these results. Any questions on this part of the demo, Alex?
No, we've had a couple questions, but I've answered them all. I think there's one question outstanding, but I'm waiting for a little bit more info. But the question was, is there a different view for different Excels? Maybe you understand the question, but I've asked for some more info so we can help.
Yeah, that's a good one. Different views for different Excels. And what, I would be interested to know what you mean with different Excels. If it comes to multiple versions of Excels, that should all be looking the same. If it comes to multiple versions of DataSnipper, the presentation that I'm currently giving, the demo is on v4.1.5. If you don't have v4.1 installed, and you get to know that by using the About button, your Excel ribbon might look a little bit different, and also the part on the form extraction is a bit different. So yeah, this means that you're on the old version. And yeah, this also means that you can reach out to your IT to get the latest version. Another what it also could be about is where you have the document viewer. So by default, the document viewer is showing in your Excel. You can also choose to change the viewer to your second screen if you have a second screen. That's also to do with how what it looks like. So hopefully that answers the question. Maybe good to tell you a bit about for the form extraction that I've just created. Let's imagine that you have this, you have prepared this form extraction, and yeah, you already know that in, let's say, a half year, you will receive the exact same documents from the client. In that case, it might be beneficial to save this template, this extraction as a template. And you can do that by using the Save as Template option. I accidentally tried to close it, and DataSnipper is prompting me if I want to save this changes as a template. So yes, let's do that. I'm going to click on yes. And I can then come up with a name for this template. Maybe I want to call it 1040 forms, and a description 1040 forms for US clients. I can then click on OK. And next time I'm opening an Excel file, I can, for example, open a new blank workbook, and I receive the same documents from the client. I will import the documents that I have used before. You can just upload them in your Excel. After that, it's a matter of clicking on form extraction. Then you can go navigate to My Templates, and here you will have an overview of the templates you have added before. So there are 3 tabs here. One is the featured templates. These are templates that we as DataSnipper have selected for our users because we think they can be beneficial for our users. Examples of these are confirmation.com templates, but also K1 forms, 1040 forms, W2 forms. Then there are also company templates. These are templates that are added by your firm as examples because they can be useful for everyone in your firm. And then there is the My Templates tab. And in the My Templates tab, you can see all the templates that you as a user have saved. Well, you can see that I did the same training yesterday because there's another 1040 forms here, but I will use the one that I just created. And if I select that one, I can again select the documents that I want to include, click on OK. And you will see in a matter of seconds, the extraction is prepared for me. And it's a matter of clicking on Export to Excel, and I have my extraction ready in my Excel. Of course, after extracting this data to your Excel, it's always possible to change the snips. For example, if you want to change one of the snips, you want to change it to maybe another field or something, you are always in charge of what is being snipped and how you document it. So it's, in that way, it can help you. Alex, quickly checking in with you if there were any questions on the templating part.
We do have a question in regards to renaming the extraction points or the columns. If you can maybe just run through that a little bit to show how it is done.
You can do that by going to your form extraction and then selecting the 3 dots on the right side here and selecting on rename. And for example, calling this the social security number, maybe calling this one the taxable income. And then when you create your extraction, this has been included over here. You can also see that maybe this one I forgot to fill it in. It's also possible to do that in your Excel itself. So you can always change that to taxable interest, for example. You can always change the headers in your Excel itself. I would recommend to do it in form extraction, especially if you're planning to change it later on. Sorry, if you want to save it as a template later on.
Thanks. And we also have one more question to walk through how you can save the templates again.
Okay, thanks for that question. I understand that it can go a bit fast in this training. However, taking a quick look at the time, that might be a bit, we are a little bit behind schedule. So I would recommend to rewatch this recording. Also, there's a knowledge base on how you can create a template. So Alex, maybe you can share that in this as a comment to this one.
Sure, we'll do.
All right, great. Then I will show another example of how you can create an extraction. I'm going to show this example of a K1 form, and I'm going to go to the folder text forms K1, and I'm going to open the Excel file that I have here. And when opening this Excel, you will see that there are already some documents imported. K1 forms, maybe they are familiar to you. And when using, when extracting certain data fields from here, you can do that by using form extraction. So I'm going to click on form extraction. I'm going to use the blue button to start a new form extraction. I can select all the documents that I've used before and click on OK. And I will again start by selecting the extract per option. So in this case, I will select extract per document, and I will use the blue button to add an extraction. And I will start by selecting the beginning date and maybe also the ending date. And on the right side, you can see a preview of these extractions. Well, looks quite accurate to me. And by clicking on it, I can navigate through those. I can also rename this extraction field by using the rename button, and I will call this one beginning and this one ending. I will also add extra extraction fields, maybe the employee identification number, or maybe the resources and the ending one over here. And maybe also the ordinary dividends. So as you can see, my extraction is being prepared. I can still review those by clicking on the different cells. And in that way, I can easily review the data. I can save this as a template by using the Save as Template button over here. But for now, I will click on the Export to Excel button. And as you can see, a matter of seconds to create this extraction. But I, of course, also want to show you how good our product is. So I'm going to show another document as well. This is the same type of form that we just looked at, a K1 form, but I printed it and I destroyed it a little bit. And I also made some handwritten notes and then made a picture with my iPhone and sent it to myself. So maybe some of your clients deliver information like this. Then it's also good to know that you can use this type of documents in DataSnipper. So I'm going to import this GPG file in my Excel. And you can, of course, do that by using the import. Sorry. You can, of course, do this by using the import documents functionality. I will use another one. I will select the document and I will press Ctrl+C on my keyboard. I will go to my Excel and press Ctrl+V. And then you will see that DataSnipper is noticing that I'm pasting one or multiple files and is asking me if I want to import them in DataSnipper. Well, yes, let's do that. And then they will appear. The scanned document will appear in my document viewer. DataSnipper is also prompting me the question if I want to run text recognition to enhance the text quality of the imported document. Yes, let's do that. And after that, the text quality will be enhanced. And this also means that I can snip information from here. So I can, for example, snip the beginning date, the ending date, But it's also good to know that I can snip, for example, the date that was handwritten on this form by doing a right mouse click and snipping the data from here. And in that way, you can easily snip information and do any follow-up procedures with this information. Alex, any questions in the chat about this part of the training?
No, we're all up to scratch now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Then I want to show you one more example. I'm going to go back to my folder structure and I'm going to go to the third folder, invoice testing with document matching. And I will open the Excel file over here called invoice testing with document matching. And in this Excel, you will see that there's already some documents imported. These are all invoices. And as you can see, they are not structured in any sort of way. However, that's no issue for the functionality that we're going to use now. For form extraction, we have the prerequisite. The documents have a similar layout. For document matching, there's no requirement like that. So the documents do not need to have a structured layout. And what we're going to do for these documents is we have some input data over here. We have the amount including VAT, the VAT date, and the invoice number. And we want to test out if the VAT is actually recorded correctly in the financial administration of the client. So we want to match this basic data to the underlying invoices. We could, of course, do that by manual snipping. However, we're going to use document matching for that. So if I click on DataSnipper, you will see the document matching option over here. If I click on document matching, this sidebar will appear. And first thing that I can do here is I can create a document group. And I can do that by clicking on add group. I will call this group invoices. And I will select all the documents that I have imported and click on OK. In this example, we're just going to use one group. In some cases, if you want to match the sample data to more document types, you can also create more groups. However, for this one, we will keep it to one. So I'm going to select the invoices option. Then next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to select the header row. And in this example, the header row is row number 4. So I can select row number 4 in here. And it's important to tell DataSnipper the header row because the row below it will be used by DataSnipper to place the output. So now that I've selected the header row, I will use I will need to tell DataSnipper where it can find the input and where it should place the output. And I will add extra rows by using the plus button that you see over here. So I will use the plus button to add these rows. And I will now select the input columns. So column A, B, C, and D. I will select column A, column B, column C, and column D. And I will also select the output columns. So in this case, column F, J, H, and I. So I'm going to select column F for the amounts, column G for the VAT, column H for the date, and column I for the invoice number. And now that I've set these input and output columns, next step would be to click on match all rows. And by doing that, document matching will start running. And once it is finished, it will give me this pop-up saying that document matching is finished. Please use your professional judgment to validate the results. And that's quite an important note that DataSnipper is an automated tool. This means that it does not have professional judgment. Also, it does not know your client. So you as an auditor always need to validate whether the results are correct. But DataSnipper has made that very easy for you because, as you can see, it's just a matter of clicking on the different cells and you will get taken to the places in the document where the information is extracted from. And in some cases, you will also notice that you will need to change something manually. For example, in this case, DataSnipper was searching for VAT 0 euros. However, it found a 0 in the title and therefore snipped this title. We can easily change that by just dragging the snip to a different place and adjusting it. As you can see, very easy, very fast, and it can really help you with automating this procedure. So in some cases, you will also see that some cells are not snipped. So let's take a look at why that happened. It's good to know that how document matching works is DataSnipper will search for an exact match. And whenever DataSnipper did not find the exact match, it will leave a certain cell blank. So for example, the invoice number is not snipped. If I look at the invoice number in my sample and then the invoice number in my supporting document, you will see that the invoice number is not the same. So this means that the client delivered the wrong invoice to me and I will go back to the client to ask them for the correct invoice. So this actually means that it's correct that DataSnipper left a certain cell blank. However, DataSnipper was able to select the amount in here. So this is just a coincidence. It's a false positive, which means that DataSnipper found an exact match, snipped the information. However, this is not the invoice that I wanted to check. So if I want to prevent DataSnipper from giving me false positives, I can do that by going back to my document matching settings and setting a certain column as a required column. I would advise to do that with the invoice number row. So if I go to invoice number and you can see the 3 dots over here, you can set matching options. You can either set whether a certain column is required or allow differences too. In this example, I will select column is required and I will click on OK. You will then see the button has turned green, which is indicating to me that the document matching options have been set. If I then match all rows, you will see that the certain row will be left blank. So this is how you prevent DataSnipper from giving you false positives by setting a certain column as a required column. So if I review these results, you can also see that the cell over here is being left blank. If I navigate to this certain invoice, you can see the amount is located over here. This means that the amount is off with €1, and that's the reason that DataSnipper did not snip this amount. It's off with €1, and therefore it's not an exact match. I can fix this in multiple ways. I could, for example, create a validation snip. Because maybe the €1 difference is not very relevant for my type of testing, or maybe it is, so then I might want to create an exception snip. It's all possible. However, if I have a sample with a lot of rounding errors, I might want to do it in a more automated way. So I can then go to the row of the amount, use the 3 dots on the right side and select the allow differences up to 1 option. By default, this has been set to 1, but you can always update this if needed. You can then click on OK. You will see the button has turned green, and I can click on Match All Rows again in order to run document matching again. You will then see that this amount has now been snipped. And next thing that I'm going to do is this is how you can use document matching. It's good to know that you can use document matching on all type of vouching procedures. Everywhere where you have certain input data and you want to match it to the underlying documents is great for document matching. Taking a closer look at the time, I want to give everyone opportunity for a question one more time. Alex, were there any questions on document matching? You're
Sorry, yeah, I'm
unmuted.
muted. No, we're all good with the questions for now with document matching.
Okay, great. Then I will continue to the next slide because I'm curious to hear your input again. So grab your phones and go to Menti and fill in for what procedure you would use DataSnipper. Maybe you already have some inspiration about where you want to apply DataSnipper to. Maybe you also don't have inspiration yet. That's also fine. Let me know for what type of procedure you would like to use DataSnipper in order to inspire. And I know that I have shown some examples during this presentation. The ways how you can apply DataSnipper is of course not limited to the examples I've shown today. Always make sure that you take a close look at the procedures that you're doing and see how you can automate it. And I see some results coming in: extractions, tax returns, transaction testing, substantive procedures, a trial balance import. Yes, that's a really good one. Very good use case for the table snip, especially charitable receipts. And tax work papers. Yeah, I'm curious to hear what kind of work papers, of course, those are. I also see extractions, preparation. Yeah, maybe even preparing by getting data to your Excel. 1099s forms, K1s, 1040 forms. Looks like some really good use cases coming in. Then maybe to discuss some next steps, subscribe for the Learn track via the Learn button. Check out the knowledge base for feature videos. We have covered the basics of DataSnipper today. However, there are more functionalities that we haven't covered yet. So if you want to learn more on DataSnipper, definitely check out the knowledge base and start discussing use cases within your team. That's a really good way to get started with this. And are you not yet a client? Request a free pilot license by sending an email to Alex. And in that way, you can test out DataSnipper, see if you can apply it in your tax. And we're always happy to facilitate and help you out during that process. And that's it for today's session. I hope you enjoyed it. We are constantly trying to improve our services, so we'd love to hear your feedback. So please fill in a 1-minute feedback survey by either clicking on this link or scanning the QR code here. And in that way, you can help us with giving us some relevant feedback. And that's it for today's session. I hope you enjoyed it, and looking forward to use DataSnipper. And see you next time in another webinar. Bye everyone. Have a nice day.